Call in the order. Officials, please rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we pray, O Lord God, we come before you in prayer, acknowledging the blessings of government and administration. You are a God of order and have blessed us with the establishment of governing officials to provide civil harmony and concord. Be with us in this meeting and give us strength and wisdom to pursue goals which please you. Grant us the courage to support those things which are right and according to your ordinances. For we ask it in Christ's name. Amen.
Oh, roll call, please.
Tellini,
Present. Here.
Britsky,
Here.
Hughes,
Here.
Libby,
Here.
Brooke. Excused.
Excused, yeah, you called it.
Okay.
Approval of agenda, any additions?
We have one addition. We neglected a couple of appointed salaries and wages. I'd like that added as item number 9.
9, elected and appointed salaries and wages.
Yeah, for 2 positions, 911 and Veterans Affairs.
Anything else? Is there a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
She's. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Conflicts. Do we have a conflict, anything on the agenda?
No.
Aye. Hearing none, we'll move on to the minutes of the June 27th.
I didn't see anything.
Okay. I would move to accept the minutes from the June 27th.
Second.
Motion support. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And then we had special meeting.
Robin slept through.
I didn't read that one.
I did.
She showed.
I think we're all good. I read it. My notes, but yeah.
We have a motion to accept the meeting, June 30th
So moved.
minutes.
Second.
Motion support. Any further discussion? On meeting 30th? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Claims audit.
Did you guys have a finance meeting?
Yeah,
You guys went through it all?
we had a finance meeting. Everything in here is pretty much regular, except for you get to page 7, you'll notice our insurance, High Street Insurance Services has increased from $147,000 to $204,000. And a lot of that, Darren's gonna get it broke down from the insurance agent, is due to the kiddie jail there, liability on that. And what I did, I called the friend of the court. Once we get the figures on how much it is, and they're gonna look and see if that can be covered under
Reimbursement plan?
the child
Care Act, yeah.
care act.
Yeah, so some of that was increased because of the jail, that add on there, and some of it is just insurance in general. It was like jumping 10-11%
Sure.
too. And then there were additional coverages that for the airport too, because of the work that we're doing that we had to put on with upcoming things.
And that bill's due all at once?
Yep, once a year.
They go.
Woo.
But we can't, can't really go looking for insurance because no one else is gonna insure us. There's been so many lawsuits
Right.
here in previous years. We do have one thing we missed though. There,
One add-on just for the annual bill for the website, the webmaster, it's $1,500. And so that just changes the bottom line, it's got the number there.
that increases it to, the complete audit this month here to $348,581.77.
348, 581.77.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve claims on it?
Bad choice.
Don't make a motion yet?
Make that motion. Do we have support?
Second.
All right, we have motion support. Any more discussion on any of the line items there? Besides that big one. Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote then.
Tellini,
Yes.
Britsky.
Yeah.
Hughes.
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
Period. Okay. Citizens appearing before the board.
I have one thing. So I attended the, mental health board today. And, Nuna Sork had brought up the fact that with this new bill at the federal level, the prioritization of mental health is changing and they're trying to get mental health directed to the private sector. So these private sector companies are, to my understanding, bidding, or they're able to bid on these services. If, which probably isn't going to work real well because there's not enough private providers to do that. So if this goes through, this becomes a burden on the county. And I was looking at their budget of, it appears $8 million and some dollars between the 4 counties. This could be detrimental to every county across the country. So she has sent out a resolution and I'm not sure if you guys got it yet. But I would just like to encourage the board, as a resident of Presque, encourage the board to look deep into that resolution. And basically, I believe what it's saying is that you guys are against, privatizing this, service to the community, the county. And, it needs to be done sooner than later because they're trying to get these resolutions in as soon as possible.
The legislators that want to privatize it then, Lansing?
No federal government, this is at the
Bad.
federal level. Yes, that's part of the big bad bill or whatever you wanna call it, so. Yeah, so it's going to be not good for the entire country, in my opinion, but. You know, please make sure you watch for that resolution if you haven't gotten it yet,
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
but it's a big one, it's very important because.
It's gonna.
I know this county wouldn't be able to fund that or to take over their facility. It would be everything, their vehicles, their facilities, everything. So it's, in my opinion, it's going to hurt everybody. So that's it.
That's disturbing news.
Yes.
Citizen? No citizens.
Yeah.
She's on the agenda, isn't she?
Yeah.
SBA.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? That's me.
No, I'll report that later. I'm sorry.
We can move on to new business. SBA Financial Assistance Program, Natalie Evans.
Everybody, I'm gonna put this here because it's just a deal. That's okay.
And that's what it's for.
Okay. So I'm not Natalie, I'm Julie. Natalie had to go home today, so I'm taking her place. My name is Julie Garrett. I'm a public affairs specialist with the SBA Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. I'm here because of the ice storm. Your state is trying to get a FEMA declaration and it's taking a while. And after it takes 20 days your state can come to our organization and have us come in with what we can offer you. And that is disaster loans. It's not the same as FEMA. FEMA does grants for homeowners and renters, and they help municipalities as well. They have public assistance money and then individual assistance money. SBA is different. We come in with disaster loans, and when there's a big disaster declaration, FEMA and SBA work together. So we're here now making what we have available, and then if FEMA comes in later, that will be great. But for now, it's us. And what we offer are disaster loans to help people recover from the ice storm. That's anything that your insurance didn't cover on your primary residence for homeowners up to $500,000 at interest rates as low as 2.75%, which is really great right now. For renters and homeowners, it's up to $100,000 for contents that were damaged and weren't compensated, and that includes vehicles. So if somebody had a car get hit by a branch or a tree and they had to repair their car or replace it, they could use a disaster loan to pay themselves back. And since the ice storm was back in March and early April, people have probably made repairs or they've already gotten insurance settlements. They can still use a disaster loan. Like if they went to Home Depot or Lowe's and they put their repair expenses on a high interest credit card, they could use a disaster loan to pay back those repair expenses at that lower interest rate. So that's how it can help homeowners. We do things that insurance doesn't cover. We do, cover things like tree work and debris removal and sheds and fences, things that a lot of times insurance won't cover, or they might have $1,000 rider on their policy or whatever. They can come to us for those expenses. So that's how it can really help your people. If you have businesses that close because the power was out, we heard that Presque had very serious power issues. So we talked with your utility company. If a business was closed for a long time because the power was out, they can apply for an economic injury disaster loan for working capital to help them just make their bills until things get better. Hopefully by the end of the season, things will be better. They also can apply for a physical disaster loan. So let's say somebody had refrigerated inventory and they lost power and they lost their inventory. That would be a physical loss. And they could apply for that. Landlords could apply if they couldn't rent their property during that period. That would be economic injury. So I encourage people to look into that. For businesses, the interest rate is as low as 4%. And that same loan is also available for nonprofit organizations. So let's say a nonprofit had to postpone a fundraiser that they used for their budget for the year and they didn't get to hold it because there was no power and there was this big crisis. They might have their budget be impacted. So that's how a nonprofit could be in need of this money.
Question?
Yes.
I'd mentioned before the meeting, I have a business in Bismarck Township. And I had about a $14,000 claim that was denied by my insurance company. Power was out, flood in the basement, loss of product, loss of frozen product, perishable product. And they denied it because it was a power outage that came from offsite. And while it would be, you would be covered.
That would be eligible.
Yeah, while you would be covered as a homeowner under your homeowner's insurance, businesses don't have that same kind of coverage. And as an example, let's say I applied for $15,000 and I think that'd be at Edel. And yeah, and in that instance, it'd be 4%. How long between when I apply would the funds become available?
It could take up to 21 days to process an application because business applications tend to be a little more complex.
Yes, ma'am.
There's more to consider.
I'm saying this for everybody else.
Yeah, about 2 to 3 weeks. And then once you sign all the paperwork, 3 to 5 days, the money gets deposited in your account. Now for $14,000 or less, there is no collateral. And also for all the loans, no matter what type, there is no payment for 1 year and no interest for the first year. So basically it's a 0% loan for that year.
And the typical terms of an Edel loan are?
So if a business has credit available elsewhere, like they're very well capitalized, their long term could be 7 years. But in general, the terms are 15 or 30 years. We look at somebody's finances and offer them what we think will be best, like maybe you need a 30-year term, so you have a smaller payment.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's no age limit. Like I've had a lot of elderly people who are on social security or with a limited income ask about that. But we don't look at your age. We're not going to discriminate against you because of your age. There's also no minimum amount that people can take out. So if they just need a couple $1,000s, that's okay to get a loan on this.
Thank you. I just wanted others to know.
What's the little businesses?
It's 2 million.
2 million.
Yeah.
And nonprofit, like our
It's
co-ops,
okay.
nonprofit, they would qualify,
Um,
our electric co-op.
yeah. I don't want to disturb
Alright.
privacy, but yeah, I've talked with them.
Alright.
Yeah.
Another question,
But if somebody is if a business is a major employer, that can be adjusted up. So. That's not.
another question I have is. Agricultural businesses are exempt from this.
So
Yeah,
it's not that they're
that's what you
exempt, it's just that we don't do ag businesses. USDA and FSA do those disaster.
I realize that, but I
Yeah.
thought it was in
Yeah.
a small business
Yeah,
disaster
yeah.
loan.
Yeah, so if you're a producer or a rancher, you can't get these loans. But if you're a farmer and you have a retail operation and like your little store on your farm got destroyed, that would be eligible. If you have like a used equipment business, that would be eligible. So an ag-related business would be eligible,
But not a, so.
but not ag itself. But I do have information about the USDA's offerings, like they are on
I'm
a
pretty-
tree program above an acre. I can email you guys. those
I
quotes.
never
You have it?
looked at it.
So I have one question. I've been getting a lot of calls from folks. So Presque Township south of here was impacted by an hailstorm / high winds tornado. About 2-3 years ago. So a lot of those people had major claims about 2-3 years ago. And so a lot of those folks are just anteing up and fixing things because they don't want to make another claim on their homeowner's insurance.
Mhm.
And so technically, would it be denied? I don't know what their policy is, but do they have, so the question that I got 2 calls, the same thing today. Do they have to have like a denial letter from their insurance company in order to be able to apply? Because they don't want to make a claim because they said their policies have skyrocketed since this hailstorm.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm not sure. I don't want to give you information if I'm totally sure.
Okay.
So what I can do is find that out and then give it to somebody. If somebody gives me an email address, I'll
Okay.
email you. Or I can give you my phone number.
Okay.
You have my card, I think, on there.
Yeah, I'll reach out
You
to you.
could just email me and say, I'm the person who asked the insurance question.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I haven't gotten that question very much. I haven't heard it before years ago, but I don't remember for sure, and I just don't want to miss.
Right, okay.
I can't get a chance on that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I'm just trying to think of this. Oh, yeah, here's another really good thing about the program. Is you can add 20% of your damages to your loan for mitigation funding. So if you want to make improvements at your house to make it stronger for the future, you can add that onto your loan. You have 2 years to make up your mind about that. So you start getting a loan and stuff, and you have 2 years to choose to add mitigation funding to it. And there's a flyer right up here that explains all that. If you want to see it in that packet, and I can put more out. Also, if you pay your loan off early, there is no prepayment penalty. So some people just hate being in debt and they're gonna pay that off fast and good for them. There will be no penalty.
It's not that way with the 7A program, first 3 years.
Okay. Got it. You can pay it off before that year while the interest rate's zero and you have no payments and just pay it off before the 12 months and
You're good to go.
give you your choice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, the other thing is if people have other disaster loans from that thing that happened a few years ago, or whatever, you can get disaster loan for as many disasters as you are affected by, but they can't combine the payments for the loan.
Separate
Yeah.
loans.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing, guys, there are 2 centers available where you can get in-person help. We did have one in your county a while ago, but now we have 2 left, and one is in Sheboygan. It's at the Bodman Building, 229 Court Street, Sheboygan, 49721.
And that is open 8 to 5 weekdays and 10 to 2 on Saturdays through July 26th. You can go online and apply at sba.gov/disaster. And we have an 800 number, 800-659-2955. And everything I've told you is basically in information up here. So it's got how to apply as well. So thank
Or do you
you.
have any other questions for her? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your recovery.
Airport hangar DOT grant.
Good evening, folks. Couple changes. One thing, we do have a contract for part of the money that came out on the seconds after we had our meeting. Some things I told you that have changed. So I'll go over those here about that.
Yeah, can you point them out?
Okay. All right, so what we've got basically is we do have a contract for some of the money. Okay, this is the monies that are not bill related. The bill funds are still held up. Did talk to Camp Cabot's office, and because it's a legal issue, there's nothing they can do. The case friendly was settled out in favor of the state of Michigan. But the updates from MDOT are that their legal department still has not gone over it and gave them the okay to start issuing contracts. There's no due date on when they will do that. Sometime in the future is when that'll happen. But the money that the contract shows, which is for $316,000 and some change, it's the money that's earmarked for the construction of the building. Okay. The bill money is the money that's earmarked for the foundation.
149.
So what we have right now is $316,829. This contract covers. What we're going to do, because we have to protect that money, 149. And our deadline is 08/08/25. With this, we did talk to the contractor. They did give us a price on materials, the cost of that. So, on approval, if you approve this contract, that will give us the ability then for the contractor to order the materials. And at that point, that will cover that deadline. So we'll have the materials ordered. They will not be here by the deadline, but we show the invoice for the materials that being ordered and shipped or ready to ship. We're not going to lose that money on the 8th. That window is closed. The only thing we will be waiting for will be the bill money. Initially, MDOT had proposed reimbursing us $50,000 for the expenses we paid for design. That opportunity passed. So instead of getting 50,000 back from them and the county having to come up with 60 to match the 110. At this point, we would have to come up with 110 out of the county's pocket, which would be reimbursed once the bill money funding was released. And kind of need to get the foundation started before we can construct the building.
When did they pull back that proposal on the 50,000 refund?
That, we ran out of time. We didn't have time. That was,
As recently.
yeah, we didn't have time for a meeting when they proposed it. And the deadline fell between the last meeting and this meeting. So
How much is the bill money too? I can't.
bill money is $110,000. So what we would have to do is, I guess you would have to agree that you will provide $110,000 towards the start of construction for the foundation. And then once that got underway, The materials would probably arrive sometime after, then we could probably get started on this year. The only other option is waiting for the bill money to arrive and starting construction next spring. But
And it still sounds like, and you correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm reading this in the wrong direction, it still sounds like the bill money's kind of at risk
the
because.
bill money is not at risk. The FAA has released it, and we've got a letter from the FAA that says it's ours.
Yep.
But Michigan, because of their
Lawsuit.
will not, because they're afraid, and we talked about, even if they sign one contract, their attorneys are afraid that that would cover everything. And they would end up buying into the executive orders that they don't want to buy into. So one contract would spoil it for everybody, so they will not even issue an exception.
Hmm.
You know how legal stuff works. So at some point in time, I can't tell you when, it will probably be settled. The FAA has our money, says we own it. We just cannot get, because it has to pass through MDOT. We can't get it until they get their legal department to sign off on. So what I'm asking here tonight, I guess, is, can you find it in your hearts, find the courage to commit to $110,000 and, agree to sign the contract. If we don't sign the contract and get that in, we don't purchase the materials, and we do lose $149,000, and then we can just kiss the whole project goodbye.
And we already spent the $50,000 for the design.
We spent the $50,000 for the design, and that is something that, once we get the hangar up and we get back into the funds, we can apply for reimbursement of that money.
Are you asking for an additional 110 or 60?
We'll have to front the whole thing, because we don't have the 50,000 that MDOT was initially gonna give
They
us.
pulled that out.
It would have been 50 on their part, 60 by us. Now it's
110.
110.
When did we get the contract? You just get it recently?
The
I mean,
contract,
yeah, you didn't have it when I was talking to you last week.
no, it came on the 2nd.
It's dated on the bottom first page.
I mean, we haven't even had a chance to let council look over it. I got questions on it. Why is it a 20-year contract?
All the FAA contracts are like that. Every time you spend money, from the FAA, it's 20 year golden handcuffs. So
The other question I wanted to run by council too was, why do they have to retain, why does, it's the feds, right? FFA, why are they trying to retain first right to refusal if the property's ever sold?
because essentially, explain it in simple man's terms, they have a lien on it for 20 years.
They grant this money and take a lien for 20 years and then it's forgiven.
You take
For $400,000.
for $20,000 for anything you spend, any airport spends.
There is one thing that's nice in this, and I did read this, there's a pro rata. Let's say 10 years from now, you'll probably
Right.
get 50% of that forgiven. And in 15 years, you get 75% of that forgiven.
So you can buy yourself.
So it's a
out of something.
diminishing lien on the property over time.
But
So-
that's not a guarantee, because while you might be able to buy yourself out, it still comes down to whether they are going to let you close an airport. and Buy your way out. You gotta win on 2 points.
Yeah.
One, you gotta come up with money. 2, you gotta convince them there's no reason for that facility to be here.
Well, and if they decide it's got to be here, they have the option of purchasing it with a fair market value appraisal. I read that in here too.
That's insane though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's,
I've read these things before. You get
I've
to say
read it.
things at school, didn't you?
Not completely, but I skimmed through it and I was reading the highlighted parts, but I would like our attorney to,
you could have your legal department review it.
yeah,
I'll tell you, they're not gonna change it. All you're gonna do is you're gonna do 2 things. You're gonna eat up time. And if you do eat up the time and decide somewhere down the line, okay, fine, we'll go with it. You're just adding costs to the project. So
So but this contract's from the DOT. The feds are supplying the grant money, but it's the DOT.
It's flowing through the
They
DOT
manage
to
it.
us.
DOT's got $8,000 in it, and they're writing all the stipulations in the contract.
it's their money. If you loaned me money, I'm sure you would.
Well, they're only got $8,000 in it. The feds got most of it. I mean, you would think the feds be the one putting the
But yeah,
clauses
that's
in
kind
it.
of the middleman. It feeds through them.
On
Feeds through the
state
state.
level there.
Yeah.
It
Feeds through the
goes
state,
that.
comes to the county, and
Yeah.
we pay the bills. And there's some, payment stipulations within 30 days, which is hard for us to do. We'd have to set this up ahead of time and make sure we were efficient when these bills come in, and 30 days sometimes can be pretty tight, can it, Darren?
Real fight.
So,
But not impossible.
I
Yeah.
understood. Anything.
Right now, point being, nobody would be asking you to come up with $110,000 or days from whatever. That would be something to be worked out in time. What would have to be done is the materials, $149,000, some change spent before 08. Otherwise, you lose it, and then at that point, if you lose that, you don't have to worry about anything from that point on, because you're not getting the hanger.
And at a previous meeting, it was discussed that the 149,000 was at risk of maybe never showing up.
If we don't spend it by 08,
Mhm.
it'll be taken away, that's correct.
So 110
think-
plus the 50s would be 160 we've spent on it then.
I mean,
It's got
Our
it
co-
committed, right?
They're looking for an answer. I'll put it this way, I'll make it as simple as I can. If you're not going to commit to the 110. Then there's no sense in signing the contract.
Right.
Because you're gonna have, materials ordered. And the only option you would have from that is waiting until the bill money arrive. So. At this point, you'd have to make some type of commitment that you're going to cover that. 110. And then accept the fact that you will get that 110 back when the bill money is released. So it's not like you're losing your money, it's just like investing in a CD, it's there. Yeah,
And I'll put a little candy on this just for a minute.
sure.
We get this built this year, you'd have it rented by next spring? Give or take,
You don't know that.
right? But
I would hope I have a tenant waiting for it.
But at $150,000 in additional federal airport funds available to us, it's less, let's say we never got reimbursed 160,000. That's a 1-year return on investment. I'd take that. Let's say it ends up coming out of the taxpayer's pocket, but 2 years from now, we get $150,000 in additional airport revenue because we have so many planes there. That's a 1-year return on investment. Am I wrong?
We get it to 9 or more, and I mean, that's my goal, that's what I've been striving for
Yep,
for
yep.
6 years,
So in that instance,
so.
I don't think it's a huge risk.
I agree.
I still want him to read through the contract.
I don't think there's a darn thing we can do about it.
Oh,
But
they're not gonna change it, but I want it explained.
Yeah.
Every line item. I mean, you don't know what's gonna happen.
right,
They lock you down for 20 years.
That's, to save you a lot of reading time and wasted, the time is valuable, that's exactly it, you're signing a contract for money that is going to bind you for 20 years. And in that 20 years, you're bound, if you keep the airplane count at 9 or better, you're gonna be getting $150,000 a year in funds to help you maintain the airport. I can tell you right now, if you don't have, just by the look on your faces and look at your budget, you guys don't have $150,000 a year to put into that
Mm-mm.
airport. Cliff, you walked that taxiway with me, that taxi lane. How much did you tell me that would cost to replace that?
Quite a lot. What did I tell you that day?
100 grand plus?
180 probably.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when you don't have $150,000. And just looking at your faces right now, I bet if you don't want to grant me or commit to 110,000, what are you gonna do when I come in here and say, we gotta do that taxiway, and it's $200,000?
Mhm.
Where are you gonna get the
It
money?
ain't gonna get done. That's
It
what
ain't gonna get done, right?
And you'll
It's-
be,
It's gonna go the same way they did with the Hanway Airport.
exactly, and because they weren't proactive or weren't visionary enough to see, they never did anything to get money for that airport, and they couldn't. They couldn't maintain it, they couldn't repair it, and you saw what happened. Well, if we don't take a gamble or risk here,
I don't
you
call
got
it,
another runaway.
I don't call it a gamble.
Yeah, I don't either, but I mean, if some people
Right.
want to call it that, but you know, do you want to replay Onaway? We know what happens when the county doesn't have money to take care of the airport.
I ain't got a problem with
Nope.
that part of it. The problem I got.
Some of the
is
wording.
with their wording again. 20 years and their first right to refusal if a guy has to end.
Well, picking the
County
bones,
has to
picking the
sell.
bones and throwing away the meat there. I mean, the wording is what the wording is. Virtually every airport that signs a contract with MDOT, the FAA, Michigan, Arkansas, California, they get the same boilerplate
Wording.
thing.
And the redeeming quality is a depreciable value over time.
Somebody's giving you a tool to make some money, but somebody's giving you a tool
Yep.
to make an investment return to you. Yeah, we can quibble about the wording in it.
Make a
and,
motion?
You know, we don't have much time here.
Yeah, totally.
Well, and we don't meet again. Well, we do. That's only 3 days by the time we get the things committed. I make a motion, we authorize the chairman to sign the contract number 2025-0579, federal project number B 260135-2222.
I second.
I've seen these before. There's some redeeming qualities in it. Further discussion?
I get a motion, support, more discussion.
Like I said, the redeeming quality is that we at least have the capacity to get to 9 planes. And there is a depreciable clause within the contract that says each year that goes by, in my calculation, is 5% of the grant money, or the lien is.
Suppose we paid
Covered
it
by
all back right away.
Mhm.
Took 400 grand and paid them all back. You're still at the whims of the feds and the DOT of signing off on the.
And honestly, there's probably some grant money that's been stipulated before. There's already liens on the thing.
There is, and I got to tell you, I just tightened the noose on you guys
Probably for that.
last
stupid-
month for
probably-
$19,000.
Mhm.
And you're still owing for the $58,000, the remainder of that for the last couple of years of crack sealing, and yeah, but once again, I think tying yourself up to a commitment is heck of a lot better than reaching into your pocket for the money that you don't have.
Right.
In that airport.
That's true, but no one's gonna be forced you to be doing it though.
Yeah.
You know, you can come in here and say. We need $250,000 to do this, it doesn't mean you're gonna get it,
No,
you know.
when you know, we could debate things.
7 ways.
Yeah, I mean, we can make this.
Then they wait right to the wire to give you the contract. Oh, less than a week ago, the whole thing reads.
Well, you know, there's enough blame on all sides on that. You guys unfortunately got handed a stinky fish because a couple previous boards. And you were there, you saw it, kind of,
Kicked it down the road.
yeah, dragged their feet. Bounced this back and forth, Mike, and I asked Mike, how many revisions did we make for those contract projects? How many times did we go back and forth? So, I mean, I can't apologize for those, yeah, and unfortunately, timing was bad, you guys just ended up with a term at the wrong. It should have been taken care of 4 years ago. And it would have cost probably half of what it's gonna cost today. And when I got my 9 planes in, we probably could have got reimbursed for the county's cost at that time, the same as here. So it would have been a no cost, but people didn't see that. They didn't want to see that. So unfortunately, this is what we got to work with. Yeah, it ain't great. I've spent 6 years trying to get 9 airplanes on the field that'll only hold. I mean, you want to talk about frustration? You're frustrated with the words. We had a conversation this week. You know how frustrated I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you want to talk about frustration with this mess?
I hope you get the planes then.
Yep. Have your roll call.
We can do it all. I would just soon have them look over it, at least tell them what we're getting into completely, but. Being we've already hooked, we're probably on the hook for the tractor too. They got a grant for that. It's probably a 20-year one too. They spent a
That
quarter.
probably expired.
They spent a 20, that wasn't that long ago, was it?
I'd have to look back and see.
A
That's
tractor is
It may have been
depreciable.
2012. That tractor's a 2012, I believe, 2014.
Yeah, so they still got a lien on that,
Yeah,
20 years. It'd just be a perpetual lien with the FFA. That's what
FAA,
it is.
yeah.
And it gets to a point, if anything happens, you're stuck with it to win.
The airport, 2043, unless you want to buy
2043,
2043.
18 more years. Irregardless of this 20-year lien.
And if you didn't do the hangar, if you never got the $150,000 a year, in the federal money to help maintain it, you're still gonna have to maintain that airport.
Yes.
It's going to be there. And
150 really isn't a lot of money to maintain the airport.
No, it's not.
it's 150,000 more than we have
I know,
now.
but you'll never resurface that. I mean, you might be
I
able
mean,
to,
in 3 years, what is that? $450,000?
Yeah.
There's your ramp. That apron is coming apart. And every year it ages faster. We're gonna try to repair it again this year with the crack ceiling, but at a certain point in time, it's not that taxi lane we looked at. 2 contractors told me, no sense in spending any money on it. I thought we could seal coat it. They said it's just cosmetic. It's not gonna do you any good. It's a subsurface problem. It's gonna continue to deteriorate. $14,000 to surface seal that. I was told it's a waste of money. So I'm gonna
I'm
sweat.
sure it is a waste of money.
Yeah. So I mean, $450,000 in 3 years and 2 years. We get cleaned out. That's a solid chunk of change for something.
If I can just interject for a moment, in Alpena, they're looking at replacing the taxiways there, they spent 52 million on the runway. They have to replace the taxiways now, so they get the planes to that $52 million runway, and the taxiways are tens of millions of dollars in the Alpena airport. Talking like 25 to 30 million for the
That airport and the jail there is part of the reason Alpena's damn near bankrupt too.
Yeah, it's just, well, of course, it's gonna be federal money, it's not gonna be county money, county doesn't have the money, it's gonna be federal money, but it's.
That's a little
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
I mean, they got the air base there too. though.
And they have better substructure underneath that.
They're not gonna let it go.
It's not limestone,
The air
it's
base.
heaving.
Yeah. There's
That's your biggest problem up there.
It's expensive.
2 feet down.
Any more discussion, man?
No.
As long as we got the 110,000 budget. It's pretty tight though.
It's pretty tight. Yeah,
So you're just making a motion to sign this contract.
correct.
Roll call vote.
Mhm.
Presque,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Libby,
Yes.
Tellini.
No. Harry. Where's the contract at?
It is a electric
It's
contract,
digital, so I'll have you.
digital.
And the
There is
amendment, and the amendment.
I will
And the
email
amendment,
them tonight
uh,
because they actually emailed it and me as the signer, and so it only they're usually within 48 hours get back. I will email them tonight and have them email that back, because I was going to do that anyway, because I am not a financial officer. They shouldn't have sent
No.
it with my name on it. So.
Yeah, the hangar contract is through one span. The amendment contract. I think you can do it online, or you can sign it and we can scan it and send it to them.
Either way, it don't matter.
And that amendment.
I just
contract
wanted
is
to-
going to
I just
train the
wanted-
off, not the FAA.
I just wanted the lawyer to explain every inch of this to you. Cause I mean, I'm sure you don't understand every line on it.
I got through it pretty good, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. Statement.
What's that?
Doesn't we're gonna do change it.
Mm-mm,
Well, either you do it or you don't.
right,
It's as simple as
there's
that.
that.
We're agreed on, the contract is good. Correct.
We just voted on it.
Yep.
Just wanna make sure.
Good to go.
And on the amendment, we're good on the amendment.
Item 3, is that what we're talking about here? The amendment? On our.
Now we're,
agenda?
now we're on the amendment, yes, sir.
Consultant amendment. Where's that?
It's an amendment, number 2. It's with the
Separate document.
consultants.
It's in the packet. Everything is in the order of the meeting there.
Somewhere in there, Cliff.
So they're not gonna give us the 50 grand back.
Well, they will. All we gotta do is get them 9
I
airplanes,
don't
get the
think
hangar, get the
they're-
9 airplanes on the field and.
It's after SBA. so.
There it is. Yeah, well, in the contract, they talk about us hiring and I don't even remember the term, Al, in the contract.
We already.
Consultant. Yeah, you've already got, Green and Newhoff is consultant,
Right.
that gives an amendment to the agreement with professional engineering service.
During, for construction phase.
Right, just enough, the amount is still within $25,300.
25-3.
Make a motion, we authorize chairman to sign amendment number 2 to contract dated 7/8/25, contract 2230660 with Preen and Newhoff.
Second,
Motion support. Roll call vote.
Hughes,
yes.
Libby,
Yes.
Tolini,
Yes,
Britsky.
Yes.
25-3.
Go get him now.
And then just a question on the 110, are we committed to that?
That's what we did.
Okay, so we're all good, 1, 2,
You don't have to
3.
take
Yeah.
my word on that. You're not getting a motion on it.
It's fair, if you're gonna take the government's word, I guess they can take your word.
Yeah,
I don't mean to be rude, but so I don't put you at risk of having to listen to me again tonight. Keep the meeting short. I'm gonna bug out. I appreciate your time and your patience.
oh, thank you for your patience. I don't want your job.
Thanks, guys. Girls.
See ya.
Yeah.
All right, where we at?
Okay.
What's Darren want? Presque County Clerk.
Authorized to purchase switch for 1010.
Yeah, they're each on there individually. There's 3 of them here that Mike Tuck gave me. So basically, those are in your packets too, but the first one for 278740 is just a couple of switches that we're replacing them constantly. Just some of the internet switches are they go out. And so these are just kind of regular maintenance replacements because they're out of date.
These are new ones.
Yeah, so those are to replace.
Replacement.
The second one, the 479980. Mike wrote a note on there too. This is the paging system and phone system that they've been working on with the courthouse security issues.
Building and
that was
zoning
built
across the
into
street,
budget. That'll help include the health department, building and zoning, and MSU. So that's and he's got the budget line
That's one
item.
thing we talked about during the budget meeting.
So, and he referenced the budget line item that you had accounted for it. And then same thing with the last one. This was in the budget and this was just for the camera systems they talked about in the upstairs outside the judge's office.
For the district court.
Yep.
Yep.
In the hallways and
Yep.
a little bit retail.
One motion to handle all 3, Mr. Chairman. One motion to handle all 3 requests here.
No, we probably should do them separately.
So you're gonna move what, to number 1?
On the first one,
I support your motion.
replacement. We got a motion support for the hardware replacement and switching. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Libby,
Yes.
Tellini,
Yes.
Presque.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
And I make a motion to accept Tech Technology quote for the purchase, quote number 15643 for the purchase and installation of
Page.
network switches.
So we just did the switch, this first one.
That one.
These are
was at
new
the-
switches to
this is at the
support
sheriff.
the paging and phone.
Oh, phase.
Yeah.
All right.
In the amount of $4,799.80.
Support.
Roll call vote. Discussion?
Tellini,
Yes.
Presque.
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Libby.
Yes.
Then make a motion to, where's the number on this?
Quote number 15609.
2015609 for the camera system for the district court hallways. In the amount of $2,226.87.
Support.
Any discussion on that? The judges, when she has to go to the bathroom, she walks out of the courtroom and there's all the people. She's in. Levying. The things, roll call vote.
Presque.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Libby.
Yes.
Tellini.
Yes. Carried. Oh.
Number 7, here we are again. So we have so staffing in the office there too. You approve the additional. And then we also had a resignation of the payroll clerk. Both of those, I do have those filled at this time. Offers are out. One person starting tomorrow. Second person will be starting on the 28th of this month. And then in the interim, I now have a position because Chief Deputy Jennifer Palmer has accepted a position across the hall with the judge's office for probate. So we are still floating below that staffing level. So I've already posted it, which was fine, but it'll be before the meeting when the posting time is up. And just need the authorization for a budgeted position to be filled per our policies.
So moved.
This is a revolve support. This is a revolving door of employees here. Jumping from one side to the other. All right, we got a motion, support, no more discussion on it. All in favor, signify by saying
No.
aye.
Financial, so.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I thought you were just posting it.
No, the posting's been done. It's the
Roll call,
authorization to hire once that posting expires.
Roll call vote then.
Hughes,
Yes.
Libby,
Yes.
Tellini,
Yes.
Presque.
Yes.
When I do have the new people on board, I'm hoping to bring, since there'll be a day meeting, I'm just gonna bring them to the meeting. Some of you will recognize them. There's actually some faces coming back that prior worked for the county, but I want to make sure they're fully onboarded beforehand and they will really help strengthen the office.
Good.
Appointment to the jury board assistant, Jerry Button.
And so in that we did that through the budgeting process when that was reinstated because that position had been pulled a couple of years ago, even though it had been like 25 years old. That position just supports the local jury board to mail out all of the questionnaires and then do the clerical work to sort them out for to provide the jury panels for the annually for the courts.
Is that off time?
It is off time, yes. It's an additional,
Separate fee, yes.
Right.
yeah,
But it's not part of this normal 40-hour
No.
work week.
No.
So,
you
yeah,
know,
we budgeted for
yeah,
that.
it is off time and I'm recommending that he be the person appointed for it.
He's good with that?
Does he want to do it?
Yes,
All right.
So moved.
Support. Yeah, motion support to appoint Jerry Button. The jury board assistant, clerical work. Roll call vote.
Libby,
Yes.
Tellini,
Yes.
Presque,
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
elected and appointed salary wages, 911 and the veterans.
We had neglected in our last to appoint the 911 coordinator at the $15,000 level, which is previous and budgeted for, just wasn't included in our list.
It was budgeted,
It was budgeted.
missed it in the list when I prepared the list.
Yeah, when we-
That's budgeted.
Right, that's what I mean. We budgeted for it, but wasn't included in the list and needed to be at the budget meeting, so,
And the vets was just getting paid a portion of it on another line item.
right.
Yeah, we realized afterwards too, so we didn't want to give him a reduction in pay, but I looked at it and he had been being paid 17.
Mhm.
And so it was just that it was coming from different funds, so.
So it looked like he was getting shorted by.
Right. I'll make a motion to approve the following salaries for the following appointed officials effective July 1st, 2025. 911 coordinator, $15,000. Veteran Affairs Officer, $17,000.
Second,
Got the motion and support. Any more discussion? Roll call vote,
Cellini,
yes.
Ritzky.
Yes.
Hughes.
yes,
Libby.
Yes.
I noticed before we go to committee reports, and I had Mike Mahler's here. He's not on the agenda, but you want to address the board?
No, I just mostly coming in support of Al and, I was intending on being here at the next meeting to give my semi-annual update, the 25th of July. On the economic development activity.
I didn't know if we missed it, we wanted to turn the.
I figured that's why he was here.
Yeah, I'm told I'd be here. If there's any questions you guys have of me in the interim, I'm more than glad to answer them for you.
Hang around just till we're done. I got a question outside of that.
Yeah.
If you don't mind,
No.
if you got somewhere to be, I can call you.
Committee reports now.
Speaking for myself, we normally report it, but the second commissioners meeting the last Friday, I meet, the Tuesday before that, so. I reported already on last month's, now the next one's coming up.
Anybody got
22nd and 23rd of July. That's when I meet my group of YouTube do show.
Mhm.
and me too.
I have a question about, just because I'm ignorant on this. Now that we've, posted for the, 28-hour position at the Building and Zoning Office, is it up to the head of department to hire who he wants, as long as,
It is, so according, since it's a union contract position, it's posted on the board here and
Yes,
it's
sir.
considered an in-house posting for 6 days. Where according to the union contract, you're supposed to allow for anybody internally to apply. I don't know who would go from a full-time down, but they still might have that option.
sure,
And I believe the contract language, it does still allow some latitude, whether or not he can determine whether they're qualified or not, but he's supposed to entertain internal applicants because it's a bargaining unit position. And then as soon as that comes down, 4:30 that day, then it goes, Wild West, anybody can.
Any part-time out. I mean, it's hired, board has to approve it.
right. So basically, if we take, and this is me getting the education and telling Rob, okay, Rob, you take a look at what you want, give a recommendation, the personnel committee takes a peek at the others and takes your recommendation. We bring it before the board and away we go.
I'd have to look at the history on that, because I believe that you're right on there.
Prior.
All of our recent histories have been like my office or the other elected offices, and so there's a difference with the elected ones versus
Versus
the appointed.
appointed,
But I
yeah.
believe you're correct on that, so I'll just look
This
into
board,
how that
this
works.
board here has to do the hire.
Yes,
So
I believe that
the-
ultimately you
any
will.
year.
Yeah.
Right, okay, yep. Thank you.
Just like when we hired
Rob.
The ZA.
Yeah.
They brought him before the board.
Yep.
Same way with extension too.
Yeah, courthouse and grounds hasn't met, personnel hasn't met.
You'd have courthouse and grounds.
Not yet.
We had road commission meetings, tell you what's going on. The totals for the storm now are over $1 million. Alan Berg's out getting the station signed. To get the road moved where his house is,
Oh, yeah.
getting the signatures. Bluffs Highway and Wergo Road will be permazine. Permazined a week before the 4th, weather permitting, so they already got it done. $2,500 more it's gonna cost that. And they're just trying to keep up with the blading and the chloride. And also, we got some vehicle information. It's quite interesting. They showed it. We're putting them on, we're setting up 10 trucks. Where there's the camera while he's driving. You can tell, you can log where he's at,
Right.
all loads, so they approved putting them on 10 trucks throughout the whole county. I think it's gonna cost $100.
Yeah,
But I mean, for accidents and,
for our own safety,
Yeah,
yeah,
liability, yep, yep.
the final cost on 450 run from Wenzel to 23 was lowered 15,000. That was asphalt costs came down. Prices. And he's still waiting on Levy Corporation there on the 29A stone that they delivered for seal coat that they couldn't use. For them to go good on it. And that was about it. Road commission. Pretty short meeting. Any other committee reports?
I have one question. I don't know where to go with this. I've had 6 different people over the 4th address me about a situation on Lost Lake where a lakefront owner has built a 140-foot dock out in the lake, basically capturing the sandbar that people park their pontoons at and putting a T on the end of it. Who should they be contacting?
On Lake Manny,
Like Lost Lake?
honestly,
Mhm.
private lake.
Mm-mm.
It's got a public access.
Mhm. DNR, DEQ.
No, it wouldn't be the drain commission because we don't have anything.
I wouldn't think it would be the end.
I would guess the Eagle or the DNR.
Yep. And, small lake and 140-foot dock with a T on the end of it can be an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Concerned about that.
Even going slow, no wake at night.
Yep.
And it's taking away from the enjoyment of the lake for a certain number of people that was where they would go and kind of tie their boats together and.
Take it away from.
Being there's public access, I would think the DNR has something to say about
Yeah.
it.
And yeah, I do too.
So,
I don't read like there's only.
yeah, they were.
The old in Grand Lake was only a certain amount. We go to mom and dad at home, the cottage up there, and they put in a dock. And there were only certain ones with the poop, because you could not interfere with any kind of travel or anything or cause.
You had a constituent ask you that? Or 6 of them, they're
I started writing them down.
pushing in the right direction. I guess.
Yeah, I just don't know even.
Was that dock already built or is
Yes,
it,
sir.
it's already out in the lake?
And now he's putting the second one on the other side of the sandbar.
They better contact the city clerk. Special appointment. Committee reports. Commissioner Conlon. No comments. Other government officials.
Yep, just me. So we, all of the paperwork for the generator grant is just about complete. I still do not have a signed resolution. We will not get reimbursed that money until we get it. So I really, really, really need a signed resolution. That was the final step of this whole process.
Thought I signed one.
No, the resolutions be prepared and sealed probably Tuesday.
Because we don't wanna not do this. So the committee met, we went through, generator grant applications. There are 6 approved for Presque Township. There are 4 for Millersburg. I think 4 for Posen. 9 for Onaway and 7 or 8 for Rogers City, I think that equals 30.
7 does, 38 does
So,
not.
yeah, so, so 7.
That's right.
Unfortunately, we had to deny some, I mean, we only had 30, and it was basically based on, the community, you know, what they wrote. The people that were denied did not have the community in mind, they had their clientele, their customers, in mind, not a community, so that was very easy for us to weed through those. The equipment is coming in. I was at the CMH meeting today and went over to Home Depot, picked up a whole carload full of stuff, so it's coming in. The generators are not scheduled to be here till mid-August. So I had hoped that they would be here sooner so we could move on, but, all of those businesses will be notified on Monday. There's one final step for them that they have to complete with their tax ID number and whatnot. So once that's complete, that information will go in, to MEDC. And we just wait for the generators.
Go.
So that's it.
In correspondence?
No correspondence.
Before we go in. Payroll, I wanna. Go into executive session, to discuss the wages.
Okay.
I need a motion, I need a motion to go into executive session,
Second.
roll call vote,
Presque,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Libby,
Yes.
Tolini.
yes.
Pete, that's any